Listen to that. That's the sound of modern mobile man. Do you know that if a man had heard that sound just 50 years ago, he might have become a candidate for a straitjacket? Saying that we're a nation on wheels doesn't even half tell the story. As you listen to this, there are more than 90 million cars, buses, and trucks competing for space on the nation's streets and highways, and behind the wheel of every one of them, there's a creature known as a human being who wants to stay alive as long as possible. A lot of them won't even come close. But I'd like to share some information with you which is designed to help you escape injury or death, or keep you from inflicting injury or death upon others. And this is very important, because traffic accidents have reached the proportions of a vast, continuous, killing plague. This year, there will be about 15 million traffic accidents involving some 25 million drivers. That's 25% of the total drivers in the entire country. That's 1 out of every 4 licensed drivers. About 50,000 of them will die, tragic, painful deaths. 50,000 human beings, kids, helpless little children, young men and women, middle-aged and old people, smashed and broken and banged and lacerated to death. 50,000. That's a lot of people. That's every man and woman and child at a very big football game, the entire population of a good-sized town, gone each year. And behind them they leave families to grieve and pay the costs. This has got to stop. Almost 2 million persons this year will be seriously injured in traffic accidents. This toll of human life and suffering every year is almost beyond belief, and while you can't put a price tag on the loss of one person, the actual cost in dollars comes to about $9 billion. If the present accident rate continues, 1 out of every 2 children born this year will be injured or killed in a traffic accident. Think of all those wonderful children and realize that every other one will be killed or injured in a traffic accident. This morning, 63,000 people got up and calmly began their day without realizing that before tonight, they will be dead or in the hospital or have had a traffic accident of some kind. The person behind the wheel of a motor vehicle is the worst killer the world has ever known. The fact that it's unintentional doesn't help. He makes wars appear as friendly games. But who is he? Who's doing all this killing and injuring people? Well, I'll tell you. Of the drivers involved in traffic accidents, 33.2% are under 25 years of age, a third. But before you get the idea that I'm picking on young people, 66.8% of all accidents involve persons over 25. So it breaks down this way. A third of all accidents involve people under 25. 2/3 involve people over 25. So this is something that every one of us has to do something about, and soon. If the odds on a soldier getting hurt or killed were as great as they are for a person who gets into his car and starts the engine, wars would end overnight. However, I must add, getting back to the younger age group, this year 2 out of every 5 teenagers will be involved in traffic accidents. 11,000 of them will have traffic accidents today. 11,000 more tomorrow. The teenagers in this country make up 9.8% of the licensed drivers, but they have almost 17% of all the accidents. And 20 to 24-year-olds, about 10% of the licensed drivers, are involved in another 17% of the traffic accidents. I don't think these are dry or boring statistics. They're not statistics at all. They're wonderful young people with most of their lives ahead of them. Now, I'd like you to savor this little gem of information for a moment. 90% of all the accidents need not happen at all. They're not even accidents in the strict meaning of the word. Of the 50,000 people who will die this year in traffic accidents, 45,000 could escape death or even injury. Of the 13 million traffic accidents which will occur this year, 11,700,000 could be prevented. What do you think of that? It's a sobering thought, isn't it? In fact, sobering is a pretty good word to use here, since alcohol figures in 50% of all accidents. Do you know what the trouble is? There are 6 main problems, and every one of them has to do with drivers. Number 1, lack of accurate knowledge about driving. Number 2, aggressive personality traits. Number 3, unsound and immature judgment. 4, lack of cooperative attitudes. 5, willingness to take undue risks. And 6, lack of experience, particularly in complex driving situations and emergencies. Every one of those 6 problems is within the ability of any person to rule out, if he understands and is sickened by the enormity of the problem facing us today. Let's look at them again. Number 1, lack of accurate knowledge about driving. The best remedy for this, for the future, is quality high school driver education. It reaches young people at the time of highest interest, which is just prior to or shortly after licensing age. The second driver problem is aggressive personality traits. This one is tougher. The person who gets aggressive with an automobile is often more than bad-mannered. He can be sick. The next time you get in the car, remember this. 1 out of every 10 cars you pass, and which pass you, 1 out of every 10 cars on the road today is being driven by a person who is mentally or emotionally ill and who needs help. Will you remember that? 1 out of 10. That's why driving defensively is so important. These sick people have been given one of the deadliest instruments of man and a license to use it. It's exactly the same as walking down a street where every 10th person you see is off his rocker to some extent and is carrying a loaded shotgun with a license to shoot at any person he chooses. Have you got that? Good. Number 3, unsound and immature judgment. Immaturity, of course, means we haven't grown up yet, haven't matured mentally and emotionally. Don't confuse this with age. There are as many immature men and women of 45 and 50 running around loose as there are in the younger groups. But the fact that they've reached middle age at least indicates that they know how to be careful with a car. This is something the teenager has yet to prove. Immaturity is one of the biggest headaches of man. The immature adult is a person who has grown up big on the outside and has remained a little child on the inside. Ideally, the two should grow together, but man is still a long way from being ideal. About the only thing we can say here is that if you're immature, remain a passenger if you possibly can. Putting an immature person behind the wheel of a car is like giving a box of matches to a child in a fireworks factory. Someone's going to get hurt, probably killed. Number 4, lack of cooperative attitudes. This is the person who will not hold a door open for another or say thank you when you do it for him or her. He's the person who likes to crowd in at the head of the line. He's a boor and a bore, something of a savage. Nobody likes him, and especially when he's behind the wheel of a car. Your manners are always showing when you're driving. Take charge of your own attitude. Don't let it be influenced by some clown with bad manners. Keep away from him and let him go until he winds up in the hospital or the morgue, or hopefully learns to grow up with the rest of the population. Number 5, willingness to take undue risks. Now this goes back to that immaturity business we talked about a minute ago. If you want to take risks in a car, go somewhere where you're completely alone, out in a field somewhere. Don't risk the lives of hard-working fathers and mothers, babies and young children while you risk your own. Never, repeat, never take a risk when you're in an automobile. If you're looking for kicks, take up mountain climbing or skydiving. Don't involve others. And finally, number 6, lack of experience, particularly in complex driving situations and emergencies. Keep your speed down and drive defensively, especially during the first 5 years of driving. If you can go 5 years without having an accident, you've proved you're sane, intelligent, careful, a good driver. During those 5 years, you will have managed to cope with just about every situation that can develop. Even then, don't be too sure. You'll still have to keep up the good work always, whenever you sit behind the wheel of a car. But you have to get those 5 years of experience before you can honestly, realistically, think of yourself as a good driver. Now, what do you have to do to go those 5 years without an accident? To honestly be able to call yourself a good driver, one people will be justified in trusting with their lives and the lives of their loved ones. What do you have to do? Just these 10 things. 1. Make sure the vehicle you drive is in the best possible condition at all times. 2. Plan ahead before you drive, where you're going, how far, when you'll get there, and by what route. 3. Don't drink. Don't ever drive when your physical ability is impaired by alcohol, medicine, fatigue, or anything else. 4. Buckle your seat belt and use all the other safety devices available to you. Make sure your passengers do too. Your passengers are your responsibility. 5. See everything. This means good eyesight, glasses if you need them, a clear, unobstructed windshield, good posture in the car, and good seeing habits, attentive observation of all that's going on. 6. Drive smoothly. Good driving, like good running or good hitting, is a smooth, finished, well-coordinated performance, never jerky or erratic. 7. Act like a good driver. Mature, cool, courteous, attentive, deliberate, careful, and wise. 8. Give signals to communicate all your intentions. Make sure everyone around you on the road all the time knows what you're doing and what you're going to do next. 9. Anticipate trouble. I'd say drive defensively, but too many people think they have to defend themselves only from other drivers. Defend yourself also from changes in the road, the light, the weather, and other factors. 10, and last, slow down. Speed is a kick, sure, but statistics indicate it's too dangerous, too deadly. Slow down and live to enjoy those 5 years while you're earning the right to be called a good driver. Live and let live. Stay alive, will you?